Hello, and thank you for joining us here at the Movies with Dante and Louis. I'm Louis Jacobs.
And I'm Dante DeLille.
Thank you for joining us for our last episode of the season. So today we're going to be discussing A Quiet Place Part 2, which is directed by John Krasinski. Give us our synopsis.
Yeah, so the IMDb synopsis is: following the events at home, the Abbott family now faces the terrors of the outside world. Forced to venture into the unknown, they realize the creatures that hunt by sound are not the only threats lurking beyond the sand path.
So we have the second installation. We've got a mini prequel right at the beginning just to sort of catch us up. Let's just jump right in with the practically perfect Emily Blunt in the mother role, again, having to be quiet with her newborn baby and her two remaining children. We know Emily from a ton of things, including Mary Poppins and Into the Woods, and The Devil Wears Prada is sort of where she jumped off in the Hollywood scene. Yeah. What are your thoughts on her, Dante?
Yeah, she's an actress I really like. She has range, you know.
She does.
She can do Devil Wears Prada, then she can do Edge of Tomorrow. She has a lot of range. In this one, she plays the mother, and she's kind of taking over after the first film because, spoiler alert, John Krasinski dies in that one. So she's kind of, keeping them safe in this, and I really liked her in this movie. I think she doesn't get too much to do. It's more focused on the children, I find.
Yes.
More on
absolutely.
them. But I think she does a great job with what she has. What did you think of her performance?
I really like her as a person. I would have drinks with her, and then also in this role, every role. But she has less to do, like you said. Millicent Simmons basically carries the film. A hearing impaired actress who obviously played the same role in the first part. She's fantastic, and I also think that it's magical the way they use ASL as a sort of way to navigate communication in the film.
Yeah, I thought she was wonderful in the first one. She was like one of the standouts, because kids in horror movies and any movie, I find it's kind of hard, you get them either very annoying, they're overly precocious, that kind of gets grating. But I think Millicent Simmons, her character and her performance is really great. I loved her in this role.
Also, Noah Jupe plays the son, and he's got an amazing scene where his leg is caught in a trap.
Oh, yeah.
And I just loved the way he screamed in pain. We know that you have to be flippin' quiet because the aliens can hear you. And then he has some other sequences in the film towards the end that are pretty, and he's strong.
Yeah, I think because these characters have to be quiet, the actors have to do a lot with their faces. Right,
like Charlie Chaplin would have been really good in this film, And then Cillian Murphy is the sort of male lead, mature male lead in the film, taking over for John Krasinski as a sort of a townsperson from the prequel where he's introduced, and then all of a sudden he is part of the plot.
I was like, I buy the aliens. I do not buy Cillian Murphy as a man named Emmett living in America, and he has a trucker hat. I'm like, I don't believe that. Oh, I loved his performance. I just, that's just something, him playing all these other characters in other movies, like 28 Days Later, Red Eye, he plays like this hitman serial killer. Just to see him juxtaposed to those roles as like this Southerner guy, it was kind of funny.
Well, evidently, he has great range.
I thought he was the most interesting character because you don't know about him. Like, he doesn't have the family that he had that we see him before. There's kind of a little mystery to his characters. He's somebody they can trust, this family can trust. And I thought he did a really good job. I enjoyed his character.
Oh, that's sweet. So that's the cast of characters, and we're here, and the aliens are back. We're talking alien movie again. These crazy looking aliens. I don't know if you ever saw a Broadway production of Disney's The Lion King. The hyenas are up on stilts, and they sort of look exactly like these aliens, who also have these sort of flower bud heads where the petals sort of open to expose so much grossness and disgusting innards and lots of teeth. So once again, I wasn't happy with the alien creation.
Yeah, because that's something else we talked about with these sci-fi movies, alien movies.
Aliens.
It's like, you got to do a really good job on the aliens, because that's what people are there for. They're waiting to see that. And the first movie kind of holds off on showing you them. I think personally, I think both movies work perfectly despite not having the coolest looking aliens. I think the strength of the films overshines the aliens themselves.
Well, so overall, did you think that the film sort of lived up to the first one, or stands on its own?
I actually thought this movie was a stronger film, was way better directed. Maybe the story, the script wasn't as good, but I thought it was way better than the first part. What was your thought?
No, I disagree. I think that the first movie was so much better, because we're introduced to all of these factors, like a hearing impaired child in ASL working, and the fact that we don't see the aliens so much. We just wonder what this force is in the first film, where we didn't have to then look at some flippin' silly alien who was just I'm sorry.
Well, that's the thing about sequels. Once you let that out of the box, you can't really contain it again. You got to show the aliens. That's what people are expecting. I enjoyed it. I think Cillian Murphy is a better actor and a better lead and a more interesting character than John Krasinski was in the first film. And I just thought the world building and how, because as I said in the IMDb synopsis, they leave the safety of their home. So like all bets are off, and the world kind of gets bigger, and you learn a little more about how everything happened. I love that. I thought that was way more interesting a story than in the first film.
I did like that new house that they got to live in.
I think it added a lot of tense sequences in this movie, because coming to mind for the first one, I think the scene that sticks out in my mind is the nail scene. They set up the nail. That's a memorable scene in the first one, and I think this movie does a lot like that. I find with both these films, I find that they're both not complete films. Because the first one ends on a cliffhanger, and this film also ends not complete. So my enjoyment of this film is really going to hinge on, well, not so much, but it's going to make a difference if this movie doesn't get a sequel and stuff isn't resolved.
I want to see that baby all grown up.
Oh.
And able to battle aliens, because he's learned everything from his parents and his mother and Cillian Murphy and Millicent and Noah. That's what I want to see. No, I don't actually.
I thought the opening scene was amazing. Like, I would have loved all of that.
The prequel.
I thought that was amazing. It was the best scene out of both these movies. I thought the direction was amazing.
Me too.
Just the world, and like, you bought that these aliens could take over. It sells that. The family dynamic in that scene was great. I thought it was amazing. Did you have any favorite scenes?
I would say that's my favorite scene as well. Thank you for bringing that up. Because I remembered her driving backwards in the car when the bus was coming towards her, and all of that on the street drove me bananas, and I was so excited to see where the rest of the film was going to go. Unfortunately, it didn't go where I wanted it to go. Yeah, so that's my that's our favorite scene in the movie, which is at the beginning.
Unlike you, I have a lot of favorite scenes. I really love this movie.
Great. So, well, that said, I'm gonna give it a semi recommend, just because I'm a fan, of Emily Blunt's. And I think Millicent, the two children, the actors, Millicent Simons and Noah Jupe, do, unlike you, I'm not Cillian Murphy, whatever, go grow a beard. But I liked the performance of the kids and Emily. And Alien number 3 was particularly frightening for me, the way he sort of showed off his ear canal. But that said, I would give it a semi-recommend.
Interesting. I saw this movie. I was blown away. This was my return to the films. It wasn't my first film to be back in theaters, but this was the first one. I was like, oh my God, we're back. I love it. I thought it's a great movie. I think it's the movie that John Krasinski should be applauded for. I think his direction is amazing. I think whatever you think of the story, that is a little bit weak. I think his direction is great. The sequences, the tense sequences he does are, top a lot that was done in the first one. I loved it. I would recommend it. It's, I think it's under 2 hours too, so it's pretty snappy with the story.
That's always helpful. All right, so you've got a semi-recommend and a definite recommend.
Absolute recommend.
With Dante. Okay, well, that was our discussion of A Quiet Place Part 2, which is now available in theaters. Run to the theaters. Also available, Dante?
Yeah, so it's on Paramount Plus in America, and it's on Amazon Prime in Canada for free.
Great. So if you don't want to run to the theaters, you've got options. We really appreciate you watching us. This has been At the Movies with Dante and Louis. I'm Louis Jacobs.
And I'm Dante DeLille.
And we will see you next time. So long.
Anna.